Hi, in this video, I am going to demonstrate the add-on Shapekey Driver Builder. This add-on can help you to hook up the shape keys to the bones so that it can be controlled by the bones. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to make something like this, where you can have a simple rig and using the bones to control the shape keys that you have prepared. So let's get started. In this video, I prepared a head model with shape key already made. I also have an armature that is basically simple bones that has bone shape and color assigned. To get started, I need to make sure that the mesh object I have at least one shape key. Most likely it will be the basis shape key. Now I need to open the Shapekey Driver Loader and assign the shape key object to it. After assigning the shape key object, you can see that it has listed all the shape keys in here. Now that we have loaded the shape key object, we can get started to hook up the shape key to the bones. Let me open the Shapekey Driver Builder, and I'm going to select the first bone that I'm going to use as controller, which is this brow controller bone. Next, I will need to load my drivers. I can load it one by one and set it up one by one, but in this case, I'm just going to select all the bones that I'm going to set up the drivers, and I'm going to click load driver to load them all. After we load the drivers, we will need to load the shape keys to the bones that we want to use as driver. To make things easy, I'm going to turn on the filter options and I'm going to select only show selected controller object or bone. And I'm going to select my first bone that I'm going to set up. And make sure to set this as active so that it will load to the correct drivers. Next, I will need to load the shape keys that I want to use. In this case, I'm going to search for brow. Now this add-on added a little nifty feature that you can use, where you can use comma to add more strings to search. So I can use brow, inner, and I can use L. And this way, you can filter your search much easier. I'm going to load this and I'm going to use the y-axis and location. Make sure this is the correct value or you might waste a bit of time keying and realize that it didn't key anything. I'm going to click OK and I'm going to load it. If you have chosen the wrong channel or axis, you can just change it here. To set up the drivers, I have two options. I can either use set value or set range. Depending on your situation, one might be more useful than the other. The set value options works very similarly to the Maya set driven key, where you basically set one position and the value, and you can set the key and it is going to record the value as keyframe. I am going to demonstrate the set value first, and I will also be showing the set range in a while. To set up the drivers, I simply need to click key Shapekey Driver, and I just go to the next position, set the value that I want, and key it again. After you have done your keying, you can enable your driver by clicking this disabled button, and it is going to enable the driver. After you have enabled the driver, you can see that it is already working. Now I have shown you the set value. I'm going to show you the set range now. I'm going to set up the brow outer, and the same thing, I'm going to load the shape key. This time, instead of set value, I'm going to use set range. I'm going to open this, and you can see that there's more options in here. By default, use shape key range is turned on. It is going to use the minimum and maximum value of the shape keys as first and last keyframe. Depending on your situation, that is probably what you want. For example, if you're using it to make sliders. But in this case, I'm not doing sliders, so I'm going to turn it off. Here, I can explicitly set the first and the last keyframe. In this case, 0 to 1. Let's see how it works. I'm going to key Shapekey Driver, click OK. And if I move this, you can see that it is already working. Now, I need to move to 1 for this to reach 1, which that is 1. So maybe that is not what I want. I can use 0.2 key. Okay. So by using set range, it is going to override the existing driver. So if you already have set up drivers for this, you might need to be careful about this. Now if I move this, you can see that 0 to 0.2. So if all your bones are using the same range, then this might be a better option for you. In this video, I will be mainly using the set value because I find it more intuitive. Next, let's set up the eyelid. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to do the same thing. Key, move this down, set the value, key, enable, and you can see that it is now working. Let's do the nose. Key, move this up, key, enable, and that's done as well. Finally, I'm going to use mouth. Now this mouth is going to have multiple different shape keys. So let's see how it works. I'm going to select this mount driver, and this time I'm going to use the lip shape keys, and I'm going to load all the left side. And let's see, this is up, so I'm going to use the Y. This is down, I'm going to use Y as well. And this one is in, so I'm going to use X axis because it's going to move this way. Now I can key them all at once, but I'm just going to key it one by one. In the in option, I'm going to key it. key shape key, move this in, set this to 1, key. So now this one is done. Now I'm going to do the other two. So since these two are on the same axis, it will be easier to enable both of them at once. I'm going to key this, I'm going to move this up, and I'm going to turn on up, and key this again, set this to 0, and I'm going to set the down to 1, move this down, key. I'm going to disable this, enable this again, and you can see that this is now working. Now I have set up all the bones in one side. What about the other side? If you have properly named your shape key and the bones, where you have proper suffix of .l.r, you can actually flip the drivers over. Just make sure you have the correct bones and the correct shape keys available. Now, to flip the drivers, all you need to do is to click this button. I'm going to click it for all of it, and the default option should work well for you. And you can see that it has created drivers for all of the shape keys. Now if I turn this only show selected controller and object bones and off, you can see that it has created the other side as well. So let's try and see the other side. So this is working, this is working, this is working, and this is working, and this is working as well. So now I have set up a simple face rig using the shape keys and the Shapekey Driver Builder. I'm going to demonstrate how to set up a simple muscle flex or corrective shape keys. So here you can see that this is what you're going to make. So if I rotate the arm, you can see that it's going to trigger the shape keys to create the bicep bulge effect. Here I have a human model together with a rig generated using Rigify, and we are going to use this as demonstration. First, I will need to load this object into the Shapekey Driver Loader. So if I come here and open the picker, you can see that nothing is in here. This is because you need to have at least one shape key for this Shapekey Driver Loader to detect. So let's create our first shape key. Now we have our basis shape key. So now we have our basis shape key. We can load this object into the loader now. Once we loaded it, you can see that it has listed all our shape keys in here. So now, depending on your situation, you can choose if you want to create a shape key now, or if you want to create your shape key after you pose your character. But before we doing anything, I'm going to my modifier tab, and I'm going to turn on edit mode and on cage. This is so that if you go to edit mode, it will display the mesh posed by the armature. So now let's pose our forearm. In this position, I want to do some bicep bulge as well as some corrective shape key on the elbow here. I am going to load the forearm bone as driver here. Next, if you have already created your corrective shape key, you can actually just load it. In this case, we have not created the shape key and we can create one ourselves. You can either create a shape key manually or you can just click this plus button. It is going to create a shape key and load it as a driven shape key. I'm going to give this shape key a name. And make sure that you choose the correct channel and the axis. In this case, I'm going for rotation and the x-axis. Click OK and it's going to create a shape key alongside with the driven shape key. Next, we can go ahead and shape the shape key here. You can manually go to object mode, select the mesh, go to edit mode. Or a faster way is you can just shift click this button and it is automatically going to set the active shape key as well as going to the edit mode on the mesh. Now I can shape the model to the way I like it. I can even go to sculpt mode and make some adjustment here. And I'm going to make the elbow sharper. Make this softer. I need to make sure I turn off this symmetry. I'm going to blend from shape for the other side so that it doesn't affect that. Now I have created my pose. I can start keying the shape key. I go to the pose mode and select my forearm bone and make sure that I'm on the correct driver and the correct driven. And I'm going to key Shapekey Driver. I'm going to reset the forearm position and I'm going to set the value to 0. Key and let me enable the driver, and if I rotate the forearm, you can see that it is now working. Now we can try and do the other side of the arm. To do this, let us create the shape key for the other side. I'm going to disable hide loaded in here so that we can see the loaded shape key. I am going to temporarily disable this driver. I'm going to set this to 1 and I'm going to create a new shape from mix. And I'm going to rename this on the other side. I'm going to set this to 1 and I'm going to mirror shape key. Now this shape key is on the other side. Now we have the shape key for the left side and right side. We can flip over the drivers to the other side. We have the shape key properly named with the correct suffix. And we have the bones with the correct suffix as well. So this means that we can just directly flip over the drivers and it should work just fine. I'm going to click this create flip button and I'm going to click OK. And let's try and move the arm and see. So this is working, and let's see the other side. And this is working as well. So now I have successfully set up my corrective shape key or muscle setup here. Thank you for watching. If you think the add-on is going to speed up your facial rig workflow, consider checking out the Shapekey Driver Builder add-on in Blender Market today.